Hello, and welcome to this first in a series of lectures we're going to do on Christian evidences, or sometimes called Christian apologetics. We might talk for a second about what we mean by that word apologetics. What is Christian apologetics exactly? Well, it's a field in Christian theology where we offer basically a defense for the truth claims that we make about Christianity. The word apologetics comes from the Greek word apologia. Apologia in Greek is where we get our word to apologize, or an apology, from. Now, in our normal modern usage, an apology is something that we think of when a person wants to seek forgiveness or ask somebody's forgiveness or say that they're sorry about something. But that's not what the word originally meant. The word apology actually meant to offer a defense. Think of a courtroom situation. You have a prosecuting attorney and a defending attorney. The defending attorney offers the apology, the defense for his client. And it was a word that was used basically in the courtrooms of ancient Greece. As a matter of fact, the most famous apology ever done probably is Socrates' defense that he gave when he was put on trial. And a whole work was written by Plato called Plato's Apology about Socrates. And that's what apologetics means. It means to offer defense. Well, when we use the word Christian apologetics, what we're talking about is the defense of the Christian faith. Okay, we Christians make truth claims, and we want to defend those truth claims as being true. And so we are often attacked by other people who tell us we don't believe Christianity is true. And so we offer a defense to show why we think Christianity, in fact, is true. Now, this field, Christian apologetics, is a very controversial field in some ways, and there are three different basic approaches or attitudes towards this, and that's what I really want to talk about today: approaches towards apologetics. By approaches, I mean the attitude that people have towards it. And there's three of these. The first one is there are some people who think that apologetics isn't appropriate, that we shouldn't be doing Christian apologetics or defending Christianity. Part of this comes from our culture, where we basically believe that when it comes to religious claims, well, those are different than claims about facts, like science claims or history claims. Religious claims are about faith. And while you defend facts by giving reasons for why you believe those facts are true, faith, well, you don't really defend that. You just kind of believe it if you want to believe it. I think that's an erroneous distinction to make. I think that in Christianity, we make claims that we think are true. For example, we believe that God exists. We believe that Jesus Christ was the Son of God. We believe those are truth claims, and therefore, as truth claims, they need to be defended as well. But this view doesn't say that. This view is called fideism. Fideism is basically the idea that religious beliefs are not open to rational evaluation, that they simply should be accepted without question on the basis of faith, that arguments then for religion are in fact inappropriate. This is held by obviously a lot of unbelievers, but it's also surprisingly held by a number of Christian believers. Some Christians would say, in fact, that apologetics is unbiblical. It discounts the need for the Holy Spirit to bring us to faith, or that we should approach Christianity as a child with childlike faith and not ask for reasons. But in fact, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think, in fact, the Bible teaches that we're supposed to be able to offer good reasons for the things that we believe, okay? And I think it's difficult to maintain a fideistic view. Even most fideists would have to admit that you should have some reasons for some beliefs. If I was to say to you, for example, that I believe that there are little green men living inside the moon, eating the moon from the inside out, it seems to me if you were to ask me, well, why do you believe that? And I was to tell you, well, I don't really have very good reasons. I just believe it, and you should believe it too. It's just a matter of faith. Well, I think you'd probably sit there and say, no, I think I need reasons for something like that. So I don't think fideism really works very well, and I think it's a bad approach to Christianity. The second approach to apologetics is what we call strong rationalism. Now, strong rationalism believes that religious claims are open to rational investigation and, in fact, can be proven to be true. The strong rationalist is the opposite of the fideist. He thinks I can prove that, in fact, Christianity is true. Now, by prove, they mean it's demonstrable to any reasonable person, so that any reasonable person should be convinced by my arguments here, okay? The arguments and the evidences that I offer give me deductive certainty. You can be 100% certain about the religious claims being true there. That's what they mean by prove. And there are many apologists, many older apologists, I should say, that believed in this idea of proving Christianity to be true. And if a person doesn't believe on the basis of my arguments, then that person is actually being irrational, according to this particular view here. This irrationality usually occurs because they suffer from some sort of what we call cognitive pathology. That is, something is in the way that's not allowing them to think reasonably, okay? And examples of this cognitive pathology might be there's a moral issue that doesn't allow them to think rationally, or willful disobedience, or pride, or something like that. are the ways it can be there. By the way, it's not just simply Christians, some Christians that can be strong rationalists. Actually, you can have strong rationalists that are non-Christians. Some scientists, for example, are strong rationalists. Bertrand Russell, the philosopher Bertrand Russell, argued that there's no argument for religion that's valid. And the only reason people believe in religion is purely out of fear of death. Victor Stenger, the scientist, actually wrote a book where he says science proves the non-existence of God. Kind of a silly thing to do. It's really hard to prove the non-existence of something. Those are strong rationalists. So the idea behind the strong rationalist apologist is he's a person that believes, I can prove to you that God, in fact, does not exist. That may be, though, a little bit of overstating the case. And strong rationalists are often criticized for doing exactly that, overstating the case when it comes to Christianity. Okay? They go too far. They're often considered to be closed-minded in many ways. There's a third view that I want to suggest, and that third view is what we call critical rationalism. Critical rationalism, like the strong rationalist, believes that we can, in a sense, argue for the truth claims of Christianity, okay, that they are open to rational investigation, okay, but we don't have to necessarily prove them. Instead of proving them, we simply give you good arguments or reasons for holding them, that people are justified in doing that. This is a softer approach than the strong rationalist who thinks that everything can necessarily be proven here, okay, as certain. Okay, what we say here is we say simply, I have good reasons to believe that Christianity is true. I think on the basis of inductive probability that they're true, or that Christianity is the best explanation of the evidence that we see here. In that sense, I avoid the word proof, which has that idea of certainty that's so much along with it, and I say, well, I don't necessarily have to be certain. I just have to have strong, good reasons to hold it, and that's enough to put me there at all. In this sense, the critical rationalists recognize that it's possible for someone to reject Christianity, to reject my arguments, and still be rational. They're not being irrational by not holding my arguments. Okay, maybe we disagree, we start from different points of view here, okay, but they can reject them, and I don't have to say they're irrational or that they're suffering from some form of cognitive pathology. It's possible that cognitive pathology might be a reason, like a moral issue or pride, but that's not necessarily the reason. Critical rationalists sometimes simply realize that sometimes people start from different starting points. Some people have a different idea of an evidence set that they hold to, and their evidence set doesn't support the views that I have to hold, and we have to discuss things on those particular issues here. So critical rationalists believes that arguments can be properly grounded, and they should lead us to believing in Christianity, but they're not necessarily trying to prove that Christianity is true here. I believe the critical rationalist viewpoint is the best viewpoint to take on apologetics. We're not necessarily going to prove 100% that there is a God or that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, but we can produce strong arguments and good reasons to believe that Christianity is true and the claims that we make are true. That's what we hope to do in the rest of this course. I hope you enjoy it.